Hello, welcome to the Niche Lifestyle Show. My
Hello.
headphones aren't currently working, or they're working through my computer, I think. As soon as Doug joined, just then, they just went ping. I
Nice
lost
one,
them.
Doug.
So I'm
You're
going to have
welcome.
to try and figure out how to work them again in a sec. But yeah, how's everybody doing?
Great.
My name is Alex. So I,
Yeah, name is
yeah,
Alex.
I have transformed. Yeah. So, nice to meet you, Doug. Anyway.
Yeah, good to meet you.
Yeah, so we're missing Alex today. You may have noticed the observant people there, and Elena's just announced herself too. But you will be familiar with Elena if you watch this channel at all. So Elena, a regular, permanent fixture of the show that we run on Thursday live streams now. So it's great to have her standing in for Alex today. If I can get you, Adam, to go through who's here and what we're planning for today, whilst I get my headphones working, I would appreciate that very much.
Yeah. So I always mess this up when you're not here, so it's probably bad that I do this. But hello in the chat to I can see Chris is here and Marcus. Hey Sue. Hey Tim. Hey Tony. I saw your photo, Tony, on Facebook where you did the tribute to the Queen with your fellow firemen. So that was pretty nice. And Doug, how are you? How has your week been?
Doing great. I got a new tattoo. So I got this last Friday.
Nice.
And it's a little sort of tribal. This was already up here, this round part, but still a little, it's healing up. So it looks a little, all over the place, but
Yeah.
feels good. A little itchy and really happy with it. Yeah. And I'm not sure when I'm going to work on the rest of the sleeve, but just,
planning the full sleeve?
Yeah. That's as far as it goes, though. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. But at first I was going to do maybe a little more floral, still black ink, but like floral kind of stuff down here.
Yeah.
But I do like the tribal look. This part here, the sun and stars were over the summer, and I'm half Filipino, so it all sort of fits with a Pacific Islander theme. But I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. Otherwise, yeah, things are good. Works fine. Doing normal stuff. Walking the dog.
Are you a planner, Doug, or are you very spontaneous? Because whenever I get a new tattoo, I find something, and then I'm like, next day, I'm going to get it. I mean, think about it. I'm booked in. Before I know it, I'm having it done before I even thought about it.
Right. Yeah. I'm kind of in the middle. Like I will definitely plan farther ahead.
Yeah.
With the artist in the shop that I'm going to, like usually it's like 6 weeks to 2 months to get in there anyway. So like I'll probably schedule it and then start sending him some art to like dial it in. But yeah, how's yours going, by the way? Are you all done with the leg work right now, or is it in progress?
3/4 done. I would show you, but I mean, it goes quite high up my leg, so I don't know if people want to see that. I don't know.
Love.
But Marcus basically says that your camera must be switched around because tattoo was on the other arm yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, it is. Oh, it must be just on this feed. Because it looks the same to me, like whatever I'm viewing.
Yeah, that's the same with Adam. Like Adam's always the other way around on this, but he looks the same to him.
Oh yeah. Huh. Yeah,
Really
yeah.
reckon it can be a full sleeve, and Tim's been planning his next tattoo for 20 years. I mean, a long time to plan a tattoo.
Yeah, I planned mine for like about 15 years, and then finally this year I was like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and start. I don't know what it's gonna be, but I'm just gonna start moving forward and then make some decisions. But the good thing with tattoos is if you change your mind, you could always just fix it later, which is not true. You can't fix it. It's like the most permanent thing.
Get like a blackout tattoo, right? Just all black. Then that's the fix.
The whole thing. Yeah. So yeah, that's what's been going on.
Nice. Elena, how about you? Have you got any tattoos?
I've got 2. Yeah, I've got one here and one here. So.
Were you a planner or were you a spontaneous?
I think it was quite spontaneous. The second one. I just picked something that resonated with what in my personality, I guess. And like, I'm gonna get it. So I just started googling for tattoo artists, but I want to get a good one because the one that I was going for was very fine lines, so very gentle.
Yeah.
So I picked one in London, and then I had to wait like 2-3 months before I could get in. But it was fairly spontaneous, yeah.
Nice. Anything exciting been happening for you this week?
Not particularly. I've got a dentist appointment tomorrow morning, which I'm not looking forward to. But nothing really out of the ordinary, just the same stuff. Yeah.
What about you, Mark?
No tattoos for me. It's definitely put it to bed, right? Because even if I was thinking about it, like once I recently had that skin issue on my legs, like when I started researching it, like one of the most common ways that people get it is like through having tattoos of equipment that's not cleaned. And I'm like, that's just written off. It was so horrific. I never want to risk having that again. So I don't think there's any chance of the tattoo train has gone. I'm afraid. So but yeah, no, good week. We had a lot of interviews this week. We just had 3 back to back before this call, and I feel mentally drained from the 3 interviews. I feel like I'm incapable of speech and stuff. So, but yeah, no. Well, other than that, yeah, all good. How's your week going, Ad?
Good, yeah. Thanks, Tony. Beard's grown well. Must be all that sun. Yes, I am still in Spain. Marcus says the same thing as well. Still wondering how to grow up a beard. I've had a great week over here this week. I bought a fishing rod. Thought I'm going to do a bit of fishing, sea fishing. I literally took like 3 casts, and I thought I was doing great. And I gave it to my son Parker, who's 4, and I was like, "Reel it in, reel it in. It's coming, reel it in." And he just didn't reel it in, and then he got stuck on the rocks, and then snapped the line. And we just bought like a really cheap rod and sets. We didn't have any new hooks or anything like that. So that was day 1. Found a tackle shop. I went and bought some hooks and some weights, and then spent about an hour fishing and didn't catch anything. I don't even know if I'm doing it right, to be fair. I don't know if I've got all the right bait. I don't know if it's set up right. But I promised after today's live stream, we're going to go fishing and give it another go today. So who knows? We might catch something for next week's stream. I don't know.
Catch an old boot or something.
Oh, yeah, and Tony, I've been doing, I started the Couch to 5K as well, which you're a runner, Doug, right?
Technically I was, but I'll talk about it in a second. I decided to retire from my competitive career. Yeah, no, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm nowhere near that, to be fair. I'm doing the NHS in the UK have got this Couch to 5K thing where they basically take you from doing nothing to running 5K in 9 weeks or up to 9 weeks. So today was day 2, my second run. So yeah, it's good. So I'm enjoying it. Like I was saying to Mark earlier, I don't know how much I'll enjoy it when I get back to the UK and it's wet and rainy and cold. But it's nice over here when the weather's nice. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah. A little while back, I decided I'm just not going to run anymore. I have like an Achilles problem that I've been dealing with for like a few years. So I used to do half marathons and really love running for like 45 minutes to an hour and a half. And then it's just been ongoing. So I decided I'm just going to hike. I'll climb mountains and do things that are slower. I get the same kind of like good workout, but it's like less impact on the body. So love running, but I'm getting old. So I decided to just hang up the shoes.
Doug, that puts it in perspective for me, because at the end of the run, on the app, it says, Toby, today, congratulations, you've run for 6 minutes today without stopping. I was like, oh, that's great. You just think you do it for an hour and a half. What the hell?
Loved it. Yeah. It would take like 20 minutes just to get, warmed up, and then you hit your stride. It feels good. But yeah, now I'll just walk outside in the mountains. It's easier. Yeah. So
Achilles is painful. It's depressing though, isn't it? Like getting older.
Yeah. So you can't have it all. And yeah, running's great. Good workout, but yeah, beats your body up.
Awesome. Okay, before we get onto the meat of the show, just a couple of things to ask and say. If you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe to the show. Niche Lifestyle Show is a show that we rotate on 3 YouTube channels. So on Doug's channel and on Alex's channel, who's Elena's standing in for at the moment, his WP Eagle channel. Those channels are in the description if you're not familiar with them. So if you don't want to miss one of these shows, subscribe to all of us, and we'll get that every week from us. Also, if we get to 35 likes today, then we'll do a giveaway for some niche website builders merch. So some t-shirts. Oh, I haven't got the mug today. Cap. So if you want some merch, hit the like button, and we'll do the draw at the end of the show. Also, our Building Empires event running 30th of Jan to 3rd of Feb, coming up kind of fast now, I suppose. We ran one of these events in June. It was really positively received, successful, with lots of speakers talking about how to make money online and in particular website investing. So if that's something you're interested in, then head over to building.empires.live, where you can register for the event in January, but also view the replays of this year's event. And always the best deals are in the description. We currently have a summer sale going on, 15% deals. Oh, there you go. I thought, I wonder if Chris has put something in there. Yes, he has.
Yes,
well done, Chris. So we've got 15% deals on everything and niche website builders. So content and websites, you get 15% more content. On links, you get 15% off. That's generally how it works. Just for this week only. So it's a better deal than usual. So grab the link in the description if you'd like to pick up a deal. Okay, so today, talking about dealing with mistakes and failures. So I don't know, we've already talked about Adam's fishing failure. So how did you deal with that, Adam?
Well, I just thought, I'm going to come back tomorrow. I'm going to have another go. I didn't give up. That's how.
Okay, I thought it would be good to talk. I guess I don't know which way around to do this, but I'm going to go this way around. I don't know if it's the best. Talk broadly a little bit about how you deal with failure and mistakes, and then maybe we'll go around first and just broadly cover that. I'm sure we all have different. That's it.
Oh, that's how I deal with it. Yeah.
Video evidence. It was all Adam. Yeah. Yes, actually, there is a video, isn't there? It looks like it's you. I can't see Parker anywhere near that rod. So, but yeah, no. So, yeah, I thought we could broadly talk about it and then maybe go through some examples. Because I'm sure everyone either deals or doesn't deal with failure and mistakes in different ways. So it'd be good to chat about how we all think about those things, and if we do even think about it, or it just happens. So, Doug, I'll hand over to you first. Mistakes and failure.
I think I know a lot of this will be in the context of working online. So I know when I first started working online, the people that I was listening to, they talked about just failing fast, like get started, take action. So I really had that mindset, knowing that I was going to make mistakes, and I just tried to usually just limit the downside. Typically with capital wise, I knew I was going to have to spend time learning, which I kind of knew, like, from my childhood, I guess. I wasn't good at very many things. I'm trying to think if I was came natural, like not a musician, not athletic. So didn't really excel in a certain area. So I knew I was going to have to work hard, and just kind of had that expectation for anything that I wanted to work on, whether it was like academically, or if I did want to try a sport, I knew I would have to put in like a little bit more time, because it was just like constant failures. And I see this now, especially with some of my closer friends, where I know that they were like, really athletic, really successful academically, just kind of had things lined up, and they didn't fail very often. So when they hit a failure point now, it's devastating, even now as an adult, but like going through college or like career wise, like when they hit a snag, now it's like they're not used to dealing with it, where I came in very, very used to failing and having to work hard. So broadly speaking, that's kind of how I approach it. And then as I've like progressed, you still make mistakes, and hopefully you don't fail as bad, but like the mistakes are kind of bigger, but you're used to them. So if I made the same mistakes that I make now, like way back in 2013, I would have been like devastated. But now I'm used to it. So now it's just like bigger mistakes, and I can shrug it off. Like I know, like everything will probably be okay. So overall, like limit the downside, and like I developed the skills of failure uh, from a young age.
Yeah, it's like the thing that they say, isn't it? Like pessimists in crisis, pessimists often do better because they're always expecting the worst anyway. So he wasn't surprised. Whereas optimists, it's a massive shock when something bad happens. It's harder for them to cope and deal with. Yeah. Cool. So you're pessimistic about your your skills and ability, and just
Yeah.
from the get go.
I think, and I would, it's splitting hairs. Everybody's probably a spectrum, but, and I know that was slightly in jest, but I definitely view it more as like just realistic. Like I'm optimistic in certain areas, but I'm just like, okay, like if I want to play the guitar well, I'm gonna have to put in like a ton of hours. Like it doesn't come naturally to anyone really. Like people practice like a shitload, whatever it is they're working on. Like they put in a ton of hours. Like we've spent all this time working on keyword research and content and building teams. Like we put in a lot of hours to do that, and we probably screwed up a bunch of times along the way. So, but yeah, I would say like realistic and slightly optimistic. Very rarely would I say like pessimistic. But I'm putting my own label on myself, which maybe isn't fair.
Well, we won't try and label you either. I don't think we know you that well yet, Doug. So, Elena, how about yourself? Oh, you've gone on mute.
Can't hear you.
Hello?
No. Oh, there we go.
Yes.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Yeah, quite similar to what Doug was saying. I think that when you first, especially I guess when you're young, when you first start making mistakes, I think that's where it kind of really hurts. And I think particularly it's even worse when you fail or make a mistake when you do something that you're passionate about or something that you deeply care about. I think that's when you really dwell and you think back and you can't let go. But I think it gets better. And also you have to kind of understand that it's kind of part of the process of whatever you're trying to achieve. It's part of failing and making mistakes is kind of part of the process. But the way I tend to approach mistakes and failures in general is I think of them like I try to split them into three things. And that is, first of all, when I make a mistake or I fail, I tend to first have to admit that. So I say, okay, I failed, I made a mistake here. And then the second most important step, in my opinion, is to learn from it. And I know that this is kind of common cliche stuff, but it's, the mistakes happen for a reason. Like you've done something, you've messed up, or you failed. So that something has happened, something wrong has happened, And I think the third step is try not to repeat the mistake. And I think that if you repeat a mistake, I think that is because you haven't learned it. You haven't learned from it the first time you made it. And sometimes it's fine, if you make a mistake twice or three times, I repeat my mistakes because sometimes it takes you longer to actually identify what was the reason and to try to learn from that failure or that mistake. So yeah, I just think that these are typically the three steps that I tend to take. Admit it, learn from it, try not to repeat it. Personally, I just think that if you don't make mistakes, I think you're not really going out of your comfort zone. Because if, for example, I don't know, like let's say, I don't know, you, Doug, like let's say you just decide to go and have a vanilla life, never learn the guitar because you're like, I don't want to learn the guitar. It's out of my comfort zone. Yeah, I think it will be great if I do it, but I don't want to do it. I don't know how to do it. You're not going out of your comfort zone. And you took that guitar in your hand and you started playing and you probably made loads of mistakes. But because you went out of your comfort zone, but those mistakes will happen naturally and now you're better. Now you make less mistakes. So yeah, I just think that you have to make mistakes if you want to get out of your comfort zone. Every failure is a data point that you can learn from and reflect on in the future. And yeah, this is typically how I tend to approach this.
Yeah, I definitely read somewhere recently. It's kind of in human nature to strive, to want to learn, to want to improve and progress, and like that's not going to happen if you're not trying. Well, by default, right? Learning new things is going to be something that's going to be ultimately you're going to end up making mistakes on because it is new. Yeah, no, it's yeah, you covered off some really good points there, actually. Adam?
Yeah, I come in from two points. One, I really resonate with what Doug said. Like, I've never been one of these people that achieves everything naturally, but I always feel like from a young age, I've got a twin brother, and anybody who's got brothers or sisters of a close age, especially twins, like everything is a competition, from who can get dressed the fastest in the morning to who can eat their food the quickest to who can run to the park the quickest. And I feel like those are these small failures, but growing up, they are failures. If you're losing a competition to your brother, for example, it's a failure. And I'm definitely not one of those people that were just naturally gifted with whatever I do. I'm really successful at. Like, I've had to work hard at lots of things, and that's the first part. And I think lots of people are like that. But when it comes to kind of mistakes and failures, I think it's really important to also identify the cause of the mistake and the failure, because I think you can bucket them into two things. One is the mistake and failure something that I can control? Is it something that I did wrong, or is it something that was external that you can't control? And understanding the difference between those two is really key to thinking, okay, well, a mistake and failure was on me. What can I change in the future going forward to make sure I don't do that again? Or a mistake was out of my control. Therefore, I can't really worry about that because I can't change that. And I think a big part of moving forward is understanding, okay, well, these are the things I can't change. If things fail because of these, I mean, it's not my fault. It's not my mistake. But if things fail because of these mistakes, it's my fault. I can learn from that. I can take from it. I can move forward. And that's life. Like, we can talk about it in the context of niche websites about, did you make a mistake with the keyword research, or did something else happen? Did the server fail, which was outside of your control, for example? But you can apply this thing across all of your life, for everything, in terms of all mistakes and failures.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's really hard, 'cause for a long time I definitely really struggled with with failure, and just like default is assuming that you just got to get it right every time. And I don't know where that comes from, because everyone seems to have that in modern day. I don't know if this has always been a thing, even when we were cavemen and women. But I think for me, I don't know, it definitely stems from like wanting to get somewhere faster or taking the fastest route. And I feel like when you fail or make a mistake, like that's just slowing you down. And I feel frustrated that I'm being slowed down, and I get angry at myself for like slowing down. That's definitely improved, like with age, for sure. Like as time's gone on, I'm like, yeah, when you make enough mistakes, you realize that it's not going to go away. You're not going to become perfect. Yeah, I think I don't know where it comes from. I don't know if that's just human nature as well. Maybe it is a survival thing for us to get frustrated and annoyed at doing something wrong. Therefore, it improves us as a species. Whatever, I don't know. But
I also think we put pressure on ourselves as well. Like, for example, if our business failed tomorrow, I'd be embarrassed by it. I'd be embarrassed by the failure of that. Whereas I know, my friends and family around me would not see me as a failure. They would be like, "Oh, you did a great thing. You built a business. You employed people. You did a great run." Like, they wouldn't see the failure as, "Look at him, he failed." But self-consciously, I'd be like, "Oh my god, I feel like an absolute failure," and I wouldn't look at all the great stuff that's happened and instantly just feel like I'm a downer about it. But that comes from within, I think, as well. Like, nobody's putting that pressure on you.
Yeah, it's how you think you're perceived externally. What I'll say as well is, like, it doesn't take being twins for there to be competition. Like, I've got 3 kids, so then one's nearly 9, 5, and 2. Like 3 actually, she's just 3. Like, she's constant. I mean, I feel sorry for her, really. She's always the loser. Like, they have a race. They race to get dressed. They race to run down the end of the garden. They race on their bikes. She always loses. So she's like constantly having failure, like all the time, because she doesn't get that she's smaller. She just thinks they're all equals, and for whatever reason, she just always loses at everything, at every game. And yeah, so at least you're at the same age. You might have been like sometimes you won, sometimes he won, but like
Yeah, but it's different though, because we were dressed in the same clothes, with the same haircuts. Like, we were the same.
Does he have a beard also?
No. To look at us, we look totally opposite in our features. This is not dark by nature. He's dark hair and dark eyes. I'm blonde hair and blue eyes. So total opposite in terms of look-wise. But yeah, we'd dress the same, we'd eat the same, everything was exactly the same. There's a point like your parents wouldn't treat you, you'd treat you exactly the same.
Funny. Also, I guess it's worth pointing out that mistake doesn't. You don't necessarily have to make a mistake for there to be failure. You could do everything right and still fail. And, you know, that is just the way it is. Like, say if you've taken on an impossible task, if you're going to leap over a mountain tomorrow, you're probably going to fail. So,
Yeah.
right.
Harry also says this thing, which is important to me, because is that success is not something that she measures in dollars or pounds, and that's how, like you do forget that sometimes, because everything in the modern world, especially around the measure of success, is typically materialistic. People don't measure you typically on, are you a good person? Have you done good things in your life? Have you helped people? That stuff normally comes up in like sound morbid in like funerals. Or Dave was a great guy. He helped everyone he could. But throughout the life, you don't really get credit for that stuff. I don't think nowhere near as much as the materialistic stuff, which is a societal issue, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's going to say, yeah, well, he was a millionaire, by the way, and he owned all these beautiful cars, and it was all about, I guess, his personality and how he managed to touch people, you know, in a way that, you know, his material worth wasn't able to, you know. So I guess that, yeah, you're right. Yes.
Yeah, so we've got a few other things as well. That so Thornstone, very optimistic. However, I understand that someone could be more pessimistic and call it realistic. Yeah, like where is that? Like yeah. I'm an optimist generally. Like I'm pretty. I think everything's going to work out in the end. Would you?
Mm-hmm.
What would you say, guys? Are you optimists or pessimists, or is somewhere or a realist? A realist.
Yeah, and actually, I'll jump in to clarify. So definitely, if you talk to my wife, she would not say I'm a pessimist at all. So I think that could be the greatest measure of all. But the real thing is, if I'm starting something new, I expect to potentially make mistakes or fail along the way, which is not necessarily like pessimist. I'm like, oh, I can do this. It'll be a little difficult. I'll have to put in time.
It'll be a process.
Yeah. So I'm not like, I can never do this. I don't even want to start. I'm like, it's going to be tough. Let's put in the time. Let's get the reps in, blah, blah, blah. So that's like the minor distinction. Although, again, I mean, people could call me whatever they want. It doesn't matter. So, and I know it's not personal, right? So,
no. But I guess probably, I mean, I'm suggesting Ellen and Adam, we're all probably optimists at heart, right?
I think I am, and I think I always err on the side of things will work. If I close my eyes, things will work out better more often than not, to be fair.
Yeah. Elena's not in.
No?
I mean, kind of in the middle. I mean, I'm not a massive optimist. Like, I guess more of a realist rather than an optimist. I mean, I used to be a big pessimist, but I think now I'm more kind of in the middle of optimist and being a realist, I guess. But I wouldn't say I'm optimistic about. I wouldn't say I'm massively optimistic.
Yeah. I don't know. I always think everything's possible. Like I think I go a bit too far probably with it sometimes. Need to calm down. Despite Adam saying,
I'm your natural pessimist, because you say, "Oh, we'll do this now in 2 days." I'm like, "Man, it's going to take 2 months." You don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. And I think I don't think you're a pessimist, despite saying talking about our business failing, which, by the way, it isn't. Which is good to point out. You didn't say it was failing, but you just said, "Oh, for example."
Me?
Yeah. You were saying, "Oh, for example, if our business failed tomorrow, I would feel
right.
embarrassed."
Just for example, like that. Yeah. One of many.
Yeah. Most successful people are failures in life. You live and learn. Yeah. And and I think that's true, right? Like if things were easy, you just don't get that reward. It's the sense of reward is great when you've achieved something that's been hard and it's been a slog to get there. It feels so much better. You wouldn't do stuff new, would you? If you didn't feel like you didn't get that sense of achievement from it, you wouldn't start. You wouldn't even start new things because, like, well, what would be the point?
I'm optimistic that I've started fishing and will catch a fish. That will be the reward.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I see you go for a few days. We might have to do some reading to make that happen. We're expecting it to happen now, though.
I've done some learning. I've learned how to tie a fish hook without an eye. Like actually do a proper knot and everything.
Nice.
What if you catch a shark? What do you do then?
Cut the line. Bye.
Okay. But then it's running around or swimming around with a hook.
It's better than my arm. It's better than my arm.
You're like, son, go out there, take that hook out of the.
I'll hold him like that. Like you get him, and I'll hold you.
I got your legs. Yeah.
So you go. I think Churchill put it more eloquently than we did. Success in life is the ability to move from one mistake to another without losing enthusiasm. That's good. Excellent. Okay, so go reverse order, Adam. Like, how about some? Yeah. Can you think of any mistakes that you've made and like how you kind of, well, I guess how you came out the other side, or how you did or didn't deal with it?
Not really. I mean, I don't think I've made any mistakes in life, so it's quite difficult to think of some. No, I mean, in terms of website investing, like I've made tons of mistakes. I think we all have. Even before like investing in content sites, we did an episode where we kind of said what other things we've tried. I've tried a bit of everything. I've failed at so many different things. I failed at running paid ads on really obscure search engines to pin submits through CPA networks. I've tried print on demand, which I failed at. I mean, it failed. I broke even on print on demand, but I could never get it profitable. So I guess that's a failure. I've tried running a Facebook ad called Adam's Daily Deals. Built it to 40,000 people in the Facebook group. And that worked for a short period of time and then failed. But I think the key thing there is that even though all those things didn't work, and I say didn't work, they didn't make money. They did work, but they weren't profitable. And that was my measure of success. I didn't stop. I didn't think, oh, well, tried print on demand and that didn't work. Therefore, all online businesses suck and I can't do that. I just thought, I can't make print on demand work. Either I'm not doing it right, because other people are doing it. Like I was in a couple of Facebook groups, other people were making tons of money doing print on demand. So either I'm not doing it right, I'm missing something. And you know, at that point in my life, I had a full-time job. I was like, I don't really want to spend weeks learning how to do this properly. So I just moved on to the next thing. I guess that is a bit of a mistake. Shiny object syndrome. We see this in our space so many times. I do sometimes wonder and think, well, if I put the same effort into maybe like a print on demand thing as I did with a content site when I first started, would that have been successful? Is that what I would be doing now? I don't know. But so there's mistakes and learnings there. I guess mistake is that I didn't stick at it. But a learning is I didn't stop when I carried on and I was still looking and I was still hopeful and still optimistic that something would work and I would find what that is.
So yeah, I mean that's almost like a superpower, isn't it? The ability to get back up. Not everyone has that. I mean, do you ever get to the point where you felt just stuck? Like,
no, in all honesty, I very rarely feel like that across most things. Across, you know, personal relationships or business relationships or anything. Like for me, it's almost like the nuclear button is to just stop and not move forward. Like there's always a way forward. And I guess the other thing which to mention about, especially around like the digital marketing failures, is I was immersed in that world anyway. I was working for digital marketing agencies. I saw success everywhere. So like it wasn't a thing of, oh, this could be possible and I failed and therefore, well, I don't know if it's possible or not. Maybe it isn't possible. I could see people being successful at these things all around me. So it was exciting more than anything. Like, oh, well, print on demand stuff couldn't make that work. But hang on, I see people doing this stuff with the Facebook page, and how do I do that? And just go down that rabbit hole now. And it's exciting, and it is exciting with the shiny object syndrome as well, if I'm being honest, because it almost is, you know, to get over one failure, like, oh, I'll just get excited and obsessed with something else and move on.
Yeah, and that can be a failure. People can do that too often and too frequently, right? They just never ever settle on anything.
Yeah, which is
definitely.
definitely a learning because, like I say, I could have probably made all of those things work if I stopped moving to the next thing and actually spent time and learned it and figured out how other people were making a success of it rather than just thinking, I can't do it. I'm going to move on to something else.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. Elena, any examples? Website investing or not? I think looking back at your graph, there was like a 15 mistake arrows before they figured it out there. So
Yeah.
I guess there's a few in there.
Yeah, I mean, outside, I think I would like to bring up outside of website investing is I've made mistakes, and I do with website investing alone, is rushing into things. And sometimes, like saying, I figure out something I need to do to achieve X, and I just rush into it instead of spending the time to plan it carefully and then go into it. And what happens in that scenario is that because I've rushed into it in order to save time or I'm lazy or something, I end up losing that time because it doesn't work out. So this is kind of a pattern I'm trying to break to stop rushing into things because I'm like, oh, this is an amazing opportunity. I need to get in straight away, and then end up wasting my time. And outside website investing is investing money into things that and losing me in things that again I haven't thought through properly, haven't investigated properly. And but the thing is with losing money, I think I don't value it or regret it as much as my time. So if I invest like 10 grand on I don't know,
Don't say crypto. Don't say crypto. Don't say crypto.
like 10 grand on something, and I end up like losing it tomorrow, I'll be like, okay, I can get my money back tomorrow. Not tomorrow, like I can get the money back, but I can't get my time back. That's why, with when I rush into things and make a mistake, I end up wasting my time in order to save time. I was trying to save time, but I end up in the long term wasting my time. So, yeah, I guess that was one of my biggest mistakes. I think in terms of failure, I guess it's just trying. I guess it's just normal part of the journey where I was trying to learn SEO at the time. I was doing loads of different things that didn't work out. Again, try to cut corners, which again kind of they bite you back later. So you end up having to spend the time to fix those mistakes. So again, just take the time and just do it slowly, but do it right. So yeah, I guess rushing into things is one of my biggest mistakes, I guess.
I think arguably that's a strength as well, because I mean, like sometimes it's the best way to learn is to actually just get on and do it and crack on. And yeah, sure, you fail, but that's the whole point. If you just sit there and don't do it and just plan, then you're not going to get anywhere. So I think I definitely like just like go headlong into things. I don't like thinking about it for too long, and I just learn along the way. And that doesn't mean making some mistakes, but I think sometimes you get there quicker by doing it like that way. And that doesn't mean about not thinking about anything at all and going absolutely ape into anything and everything all the time. But like, I think to a certain degree,
Yeah.
we were talking to some people just this week or last week, Adam and I, and like business plans used to be like a real big thing. So if you wanted to get any investment or do anything, like you have to write like a 50, 60 page document that like literally by the time you finish writing it was already out of date and wrong. And like apparently like even, it was Boopos, wasn't it? We have Boopos on our channel. They're just pointless. Those things are just like waste of time, and like, we don't have like massive business plans, Adam. Like, sure, which doesn't mean we don't plan stuff out and we haven't got an idea, but like doing those kind of things. And I think that's kind of like part of that agile kind of methodology of stuff where you're going to plan a little bit and then you're going to do it. And then you're going to iterate on like, you're going to like take the learnings and then improve it. And it's kind of more of like an agile kind of, and I think that's, although you're saying that's a negative, like going in headlong, actually, if you've done a certain amount of planning up front, you've planned a small part, but you don't know the whole picture yet, that's fine. You don't have to know the whole picture yet. You learn and you'll change it from the next iteration. So, Doug, I started speaking your speak there a little bit with the project management. Didn't mean to, but I've actually gone down that way. But it's good time to hand back over to you.
There are so many mistakes. I was trying to figure out which one to talk about, and I'll plug on my podcast. I just did a show. I'm doing a whole series on failures and mistakes that I've committed, I guess. One has already published and one's coming out pretty soon. So there are many more. And as I like go through the exercise, I keep thinking of more and more. So one of them is just not knowing what you don't know, but jumping in head first. When I first started with niche sites, I was learning about link building and the offsite SEO pieces in the practice at the time, 2013 to say 2015 or so. A lot of like Web 2.0 links, a lot of private blog network PBN links, and just like generally bad link building. And eventually like Google caught up, and the bad part is it was right when I was starting to hit a couple successful months. So I would do great, and then all my sites would get penalized. And again, partially my fault, but a huge mistake. So I just went right back like everyone else, building links the same way, approaching content the same way, and got 4 more sites penalized, like in whatever, tens of thousands of dollars invested, countless hours, so much time, and then like it all goes away like literally overnight. Like next day, zero traffic. So eventually you do like learn the lesson and don't make the mistakes again, and it did shift everything. So looking back, like I wouldn't be where I am if I didn't make those mistakes. And there's so many more, but one thing that we there was sort of a theme in a couple of the answers of like quitting, and it's like, it was kind of a failure because I quit, and maybe it could have worked, like maybe the print on demand or whatever. There's so many business models, and basically any of them can work, and it's okay to quit, because if you quit and say no to a whole project, then you could do something else. So you got to think about opportunity cost. You can't do it like constantly and just keep quitting stuff, but like if you quit strategically at the right time, then it makes total sense, and it allows you to focus on something else. So when I got laid off in 2015, I didn't exactly know what to work on. So I had like a service business, I had some niche sites, I had courses, I had like 3 other things. The service business was actually super successful, but I didn't like the business model very much. So I decided to quit that, even though it was actually like externally, it looked really successful. And I moved on, and it turned out better. It's work, I moved away from work that I didn't want to do and started to do work that I did want to do. And, it could be that way at a job too. So externally, my corporate job looked successful and I was moving up, but I didn't really like doing it. So getting laid off actually worked out great. Externally, it might look like a failure, but I was like, this is fantastic. Now I can, give this a shot on my own. And I didn't even have to like actually quit the job. They told me to go away. So just a different way to frame it. And you could take it to an extreme, but there's sunk cost, and there's, other biases that jump in and make it hard to quit something that you've invested time or resources into.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that makes sense. That totally makes sense. I guess the next question is then, Doug. So you say you kind of you're better now than you used to be at dealing with mistakes, maybe because of the frequency of them, and you've kind of learned through experience. But is there any kind of tactics or anything that you do? I'm going to give like a couple of examples here, like of that helps you move on, or maybe just move forward more and get over kind of those failures or mistakes. So it might be like meditation, for example, or it might be going for a walk, giving yourself time to think. Is there anything like that you kind of do to
I think, well, you do get used to it, so I don't go through like this specific exercise anymore, but just thinking of like the worst case scenario and then the consequences of that. So if it's pretty low stakes, like actually today, I'm going to go to a Toastmasters meeting. Like they're starting to meet in person again for the first time in like 2 years. And I'm probably going to give a talk. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to talk about. And I'm probably going to mess up because it's probably not going to be great, because I don't have, like I have a little anecdote, but there's no point. So it's just like show and tell. And I'm going to mess up. The consequence of that is not bad. Like maybe they'll laugh at me, but it's a very supportive group. So it's probably no one's going to laugh at me. And even though I know I don't have a solid talk, I'm probably going to do it knowing that there's no point. It's just me talking about myself, which is not, it doesn't make a great talk. There's no like transformation, no realization, nothing super interesting, but the consequence is very low. So just thinking about that. And then if there are consequences, if it's a bigger decision, let's say it's, starting a site and you're like, or buying a site and you're like, I don't know, like there's some risk here. I don't know what's going to happen. If you limit the downside, then you're probably, and you can handle the downside, then the mistake is not a big deal and you've already thought about it. So that's generally the approach. So like, what's the consequence? What's the worst that could happen? Could you deal with that? Is it catastrophic or not? And then from that, you can make a decision on if you want to take the risk of making that mistake.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you guys do?
Elena?
Okay, I'll go. I just have to work on fixing the mistake. Otherwise, I can't stay still.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I make a mistake, I have to work on fixing the consequences of that mistake. I can't just sit down and relax, knowing that I've failed in some area or made a mistake somewhere. I've got to sit down and work on resolving that mistake. It probably won't take an hour to resolve, but if I know that I've put some work to resolve it, then I can sit down and relax, knowing that I've done something about it. So that's how I deal with it.
Yeah, it's also a bit like that thing of where creating just a to-do list is sometimes good enough. Like I've actually got it out of my head. It's on the list to do, and now I don't have to worry about it because I will remember to do it later, kind of thing as well. But that's probably doesn't sound like that's good enough for you at the moment. But you just have to go get in and get involved and get it fixed.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. There's just no way I can stay still. It will bother me. I have to go and do something about it.
I have a follow-up question. So what if it is like the latest Google algorithm update, right? So it's largely external. There's not, well, yeah. What would you do? What would you do in that case?
Well, I'm going to try and read and understand more about it. And if there's nothing I can do about it, then that's fine. But if there is something, even a slight thing I can do about it, then I'll go and do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was just thinking, like how frustrating it is, like with yeah, we're still saying like in some cases it's better to just try it yourself and fail, and then it's sometimes quicker. I'm thinking about that over time. Like if you wanted to learn something in the past, well, I guess before books, someone would have to show you. Then there became libraries where you could go and like read how to do something. And I guess like back then, people would very rarely start something wildly new, especially embark on something that's quite large. Whereas then there was the internet and it's easy to read. Now there's like YouTube and courses that people do online that you can kind of. So I guess people are failing. If you would start something from scratch, like it'd be way harder historically than it is now. Because there's so many resources thanks to the internet and things. So I guess people are failing less badly and less frequently. But I guess there's less people starting stuff as well. I was thinking about like, Adam's talking about all the times he's failed, but like so many other people have learned all those lessons. It's like, wouldn't it be just great if like you could just download that into your head, into your brain and go, oh yeah, I won't do any of those things. Like, or not actually take them on, but like those failures are learned and now I can move on from there. Like, it's going a bit far, but yeah, like obviously things are better than they used to be for me how to learn stuff and not fail. But still, we're saying sometimes it's just better to get on with it and do it yourself and fail, and it's faster. So
I think people are also failing in public a lot more. So as all this technology makes it easier for people to learn, but it also makes it easier to fail publicly as well, which goes back to what I said earlier. And sometimes it's a pressure we put on ourselves, but people don't want to fail in public either. And I think that's the shift as well. It's easier to learn stuff. It's easier to fail these days, but it's also easier to fail publicly.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you are. Yeah, I guess so. With like LinkedIn, with your LinkedIn profile or whatever, you're telling people, or your social media, you're telling people all the time what you're doing, right?
Yeah,
and that's probably the pressure as well. The pressure of like, not wanting to fail, and the frustration is like, yeah, like you said you've experienced, like you're quite worried about what other people will think or what other people will say.
Yeah.
I don't care too much about that. Personally, that's not. I don't. Myself and my wife are quite different. Alice like takes on that stuff, and she can hold it for a while. She's got better than she used to be, but someone could say something to her, and it might last days before she would kind of be able to manage to feel better about it. Whereas I've never really worried about what other people think. I've always thought, well, that's their opinion, like, and that's fine. It's not mine. So I don't. That's something that I don't suffer from, luckily.
I think the younger generation will definitely feel like that. It feels like it's because they've grown up with sharing everything online, right? Other people's opinions matter a lot more, I think, to younger people than, I'll call you old, Mark, but to old people.
I think they matter when you're younger anyway, because that's your relationships, that's your life, right? Your friends are your life. Your social engagements are your life. That's everything. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, JP literally just said the same thing. Where's that going?
I think it's so true, though. It really is very true that the older you get, the less you care what people think. I mean, I think you're just more resilient on those things. Like, I remember when I was like a teenager, I guess. So yeah, Mark is spot on. I would just get really dwell on things that people say. Like, oh, you don't look very well, or you don't like this, you don't like that, or you didn't do that very well, and you just like dwell and dwell and dwell and be hard on yourself. And now that I've gotten a little bit older, it doesn't really matter what they think. Like, I think you should be realistic, and if they say you're not doing this very well, then you should first, think into it, look into it, and maybe if they're sometimes they're giving you true advice, but if they're just saying it for the sake of saying it, then you just don't dwell on it. It's just pointless.
Yeah. Well, often it can be often it's something, if they are going to be saying something that's not particularly polite, it's their insecurities, or they're not feeling good about themselves,
projecting their own insecurities.
Yeah, cool. So we're getting close. It's gone very quick, but we're getting close towards the end now. So we are at 31 likes. We've got 4 more to get before we show puppy ear and get out the merch. Is Puppy around today, Elena?
It is. He's being really naughty.
Oh, we should have just showed the year.
He's being really naughty, so I've had to show him.
Oh, wow, he loves you a lot, doesn't he?
Do you have a puppy, Doug? You have a dog?
I do. Yeah. Border Collie. She's upstairs right now. While I record, she'll start trying to bother me. She's like, "Pay attention to me." So, yeah.
Yeah, he's still a puppy. He wants attention and love. He's like a baby. So I can't just lock him out. I'll feel really bad.
Cool. Okay, so 3 likes away. I'm going to assume we're going to make it. So hit that like button. But if you're interested in some merch, type something in the chat now. If you don't type anything in the chat in the next few minutes, then you won't be entered. That's just the way YouTube works and how we get the names out. So yeah, if you're, I'll get on and flash the merch, because it's been a while since I've done that.
The gangster cap on, Mark.
Oh yeah, I'll put it on.
Flash the merch.
Look backwards today. Oh, I can't see the logo then. Yeah, that's no good. Let's go. Anything else to add on this before we sign it off? Anything that we wanted to talk about or cover?
Just don't dwell, I think, on the mistakes and failures of the past. Like, don't let it control who you are. Don't let it influence your decisions going forward. Don't let the mistakes of the past define who you are going forwards. Like, anyone can change, anyone can reinvent themselves, and you're not bound by those mistakes and failures from the past. Tomorrow is another day. It's a fresh day. It's a fresh start, and you're free to go and make new mistakes and failures. But don't worry about what's happened in the past. I think that's a big thing. Is forget the past and just keep moving forwards.
I think that is a great sign off. I think that's a great way to end it. Okay, so
why does everyone want to have a different beard? So 55 likes gets a silver beard. And Zach says, "Oh, he likes Fran to get a blue beard. Is this a thing now? Is it a thing?"
You know, you change colours.
Yes.
Okay, so here's our merch. So here's the merch. We have caps and t-shirts as worn by some fabulous people. All different colours, logo. This partial logo is definitely more popular. I've got the full logo today. And we got mugs and we got caps. So get your name in the chat now if you're interested in some of that wonderful merch. You too could look as cool as me in this hat.
I'll
Okay.
get some music going. What are we going to do? A bit of ambient today.
Oh, nice. Like
very zen, very Nidra yoga.
Just calming after our mistakes today.
I wish we could add our own music and do what Doug does and have like sad music at the end.
Yeah, oh, that's
Yeah,
what,
this
that's what Alex does.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. I don't know why they do that.
I was disappointed.
Because this is sad piano type.
Saddest ending, yeah.
Maybe we have to switch provider for the streams. So we can get some sad music.
Just what you need when you fail.
Okay.
I swear Tony's become a comedian maybe. Just what you need when you failed with sad music.
Okay, I guess we could talk about tomorrow. What's tomorrow's show?
Tools.
Can you
Tools
remember?
you need, isn't it? Tools is to succeed online.
There you go. Tools you need to succeed online is tomorrow's show. We'll be covering that off tomorrow, same time, on the Niche Website Builders channel. So check that out. Hit subscribe if you're not already. Okay, here we go. We're going to do the draw. Very few people, considering how many people are watching though again.
I like this. Tools who succeeded online. That should be another show. That should be an episode for us all.
Perfect. Cool. Here we go. It's the draw. Good luck, everybody.
By the way, if anybody's a programmer and still hoping someone's going to make the spinning wheel, which will last for 1 hour, and we can start at the beginning and have a bit of drama for the whole 1 hour.
I don't know how interesting that will be to look at a spinning wheel halfway through. Name still on there? We've got
Paul.
Paul. Congratulations, Paul. So
Paul.
head over to almost ended the stream then. I wanted to end the sharing. I made a mistake. Yeah, so congratulations, Paul. Head over to the Niche Website Builders website, nichewebsite.builders. Put your name in the chat or in the contact form, and we'll get the merch in your size sent out to you, whatever you want. So congratulations, Paul.
Doug, what's going on with you this week? I know you mentioned at the start, but what else have you got going on this week?
So let's see. I did publish a couple case study updates on the podcast and YouTube. One is coming out tomorrow with Christy. Ariel gave us an update on Monday. So she's had a rocky year overall with algorithm updates. And luckily she had a couple sites that she has been working on. So when she hits an issue, she moves to another. But those case studies are very popular, and you could go back and check out all of them through the year and really see how someone does deal with, little mistakes or failures along the way. And she's continuing to push through, but kind of fits in perfectly, especially with Ariel's story. So definitely check that out on the channel already.
I've got a playlist for that so people can watch them in order, or how can we watch them in order?
Yeah, I should do a playlist. Yeah, it's literally on my list. I just I'll get my VA on it. Yeah, and actually, you know what? If someone has an account out there, you can create playlists with other people's videos. And I mean, you could just say, hey, here's all of Ariel's videos in order, and whenever a new one comes out, you can put it in, which is what I should do. I just, I haven't done it. Thanks, Adam. That's a good point. That's a mistake, low consequence. It's relatable, Doug's doing okay, but he's also a slacker. Check out those, and couple very popular episodes from last week. Couple people that are making good money pretty quickly. Cody, $1,700 a month within 4 months, and Your Money or Your Life, where he's not even an expert. He shares his site too, so please check out that video. Leave a comment. I may have him on another time as well. So
that's incredible.
Thanks.
$1,700 in 4 months. Definitely want to watch that one. I want to know what he's doing.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing. Like a very short amount of time, and $1,700 and different affiliates, blah blah blah. Yeah, really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome. That sounds good. All right. Well, thanks very much for listening and watching, everybody. Well, anything else to add before we go? Then see you everybody tomorrow.
See you
Cheers,
tomorrow.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye.
Thank you, Doug.